Hello, everyone. Hello, and good evening. Hello. Thank you for the one clap. Appreciate you. There we go. Hey, now act like you want to be here tonight for Fuck Up Nights, Durham. So if you guys don't know, I am Kim, one half of TDS Radio. The other half is right there, our engineer for the evening. Give it up for Ken. Hey, now. We are so glad that you guys came out to join us. I'm not sure if you guys know about the mission or what it is that Fuck Up Nights is. We know Danny does because Danny hasn't missed one yet. But when it comes to Fuck Up Nights, we are trying to get rid of the stigma of failure and what surrounds it and how people think that they're the only ones that go through it, and essentially how they'll just embody it and they're carrying it and it's just so heavy and they're like, no one knows what I'm going through, when in reality we all do, because we all fuck up. Anyone in here who hasn't fucked up at any point in their life? Anyone? Exactly. Anyone who fucked up this month? Boom. There we go. So that is what this event is about. We really want to make sure that we're building a community around it, and everyone talks about how great it is to be successful, but no one talks about the journey getting there and how much it fucking sucks, right? Yeah, y'all can talk to me. Okay. Y'all can talk to me just a little bit. And then also what we wanted to do is we partnered with the Beautiful Project. They'll be up here in just a little bit to tell you guys about their mission, because just as much as we care about our community and removing the stigma of failure, we want to make sure that we're giving back to our community as well. So give yourselves a round of applause for coming out tonight. Hey now. And are you guys ready to get started? Are you sure? What? Oh, yes. Sorry, y'all. So for those of you who are live streaming, hey, how you doing? Make some noise for the people who's live streaming, y'all. There we go. Hey, now, my bad. Definitely forgot about y'all, but won't moving forward. Hey, now, hey. And just so you know, when our speakers come up here, we're going to have a Q&A session. We have 3 speakers for the night. Super excited about them and their stories. Thank you guys again for being brave enough to do this, because it's really scary to get up here and tell everyone about your fuck up. So we love and appreciate you guys so much. Appreciate you. Mwah, 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 my babies. But then also, as a part of our evening, we'll give you guys a chance to ask them questions. Okay? Sound good? All right? Y'all look so scared. Did everybody get a drink? Okay, relax a little bit, relax. And then say, hey, Miss Monica. Give her a round of applause. She's gonna be supplying us with our beverages for tonight. Thank you. So we are gonna get started. All right. First and foremost, our first speaker for the evening is a dynamic man. He goes by the name of Paul Stevens, and he is a Durham native and a graduate of Hampton University, and is a... I heard y'all. He is currently a senior technical advisor for Apple, owner of Signature Party Beverages based out of Durham, a comedian and a DJ. With a true passion for teaching and mentoring, he has tirelessly worked in his community to develop youth and amateur sports programs, college tours, good for you. We're going to talk about that later, resulting in numerous scholarship offers and college graduates. He has also been a middle school and high school football and softball coach at his alma mater, Hillside High School. Paul currently resides in Durham and has 3 adult children: Anthony, 28, Neil, 23, Brian, 22. Where they at? Okay, all right. I'm going to say, I'm naming kids and I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 empty seats. What's going on? You better come support your papa. Paul enjoys tutoring, math, playing football, softball, bowling, cornhole. Bet you ain't as nice as I am. All right. We got it upstairs. I'm just saying. Okay. Okay. All right. Enjoys tailgating and watching a variety of sports. So please, everyone, give Paul a round of applause as he tells us his fuck up story.
Thank you very much. All right. Good evening, everyone. I don't know how much that is true. I just started typing fast. All right. That's what came out. But thank you for letting me do this. My fuck up is, how I fucked up my college football career. And I went back a little deep for this one. But growing up in Durham, I was only child. My mom had 3 jobs, just like, a lot of other stories you may have heard. But she worked her nails to the bone. I mean, I don't remember many times she was at home or had time to take me a lot of places, but I was always in sports. I always found a home in something athletic or competitive, whether I was outside. I wasn't one of those kids you had to tell to go outside. I was already gone. And so growing up, I played a lot of different sports, but never played organized football. And coming through, you didn't see a lot of kids in my neighborhood, getting scholarships or having the money to pay for college. And so I just knew it was on my mind. I had a lot of friends in different programs, and they were starting to talk about where they were going to school and all this kind of stuff. And so I had to find a way. I didn't know if my mom could pay for it or not. And I just said, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to try out for football. And so I went to high school tryouts the first day, came home, fell out on the couch, beat up, and was like, Mom, I found a way to pay for college. I hadn't played football before ever. That was my first practice. And partly because I wanted to play quarterback, and I didn't see a lot of quarterbacks that looked like me. And so they immediately turned me into a lineman. They had to teach me how to get in the stance and everything. So my first year, I I took a lot of beatings. I mean, I was on JV. I was getting run over. I was getting pushed around, but I was still good enough to be out there. And coming on through my sophomore year, I actually started over a senior. So I just put the work in, and they called my name on the sideline one day, and I never looked back. I didn't give them this position back. I stayed there. I was preseason All-American my junior year. And by the time my senior year came around, I had offers from everywhere. And I had no idea how any of this worked because I didn't have anybody in my family that had played before or anything like that. And so the top 2 were Clemson and Carolina. And so, but I wanted to go to a HBCU, which is a historically Black college and university. And so I asked my coach, and I grew up around that environment, that atmosphere. And I said, why am I not getting any offers from HBCUs? And he was like, well, it's because you got too many big schools looking at you. They're not going to waste the time. And I said, well, call this school. I'm interested. And they were in Durham the next day, just to meet me. And so from there, it pretty much rolled out the red carpet. I mean, when I got to campus, I was, all American, all state, all whatever you wanted to put behind that. And so I had a personal tour. I didn't have to tour with like the rest of the recruits and all that kind of stuff. And so, I felt like the big man on campus or whatever, for lack of a better word. But when I got there, it was just surreal. The campus was beautiful, and the women were beautiful too. And but coming up, I was church, sports, and video games. I didn't know girls, didn't really talk to girls, didn't carry books to class and all that kind of stuff. It took me 2 weeks to ask a girl to go to the prom with me. You know what I mean? Like and I wasn't really awkward. I just wasn't interested, I guess, And so I didn't follow the trends. I didn't have the cool sneakers and all that kind of stuff. I literally had some matching khakis with a matching shirt, and it was ironed and creased, and my granddad would crease my stuff, and everybody would laugh, but I would be like, man, this is clean. What are y'all talking about? And so, but that was my thing. That's all I was concerned about. But when I got to college and just the stardom of it, it was ridiculous. And I found out that I liked girls and they liked me too. And so my fuck up was I had so much focus remembering what I told my mom that first day of practice, that I found a way to pay for college. And I lost it all in a mere weekend at Hampton. And I'm talking about from just wanting to be the center of attention. I found out how funny I was and wanted to be funnier, right? I found out what alcohol was and wanted to be alcoholier. And so I found out what girls were, and they loved me too. And so that I just lost it all. And I literally had to go to summer school every year just to be eligible to play. And I would mask it behind, yeah, I'm going to work out. You know, they need me up there so I can, you know, stay ready for the season. And so when I would come home for about a week because I didn't really want people to find out how I was fucking up. And even to my mom. And so I remember when I changed my address at the school so my mom wouldn't get letters from my professors and all that kind of stuff, because I was on scholarship. So it wasn't like she was getting a bill. And so they allowed me to change my address. You know, I just, you know, all that. And so from that, I mean, I had to change my major, you know, and coaches didn't, you know, they said, you know, if you don't give a shit about your grades, we ain't gonna give a shit. As long as you're playing football, that's all we care about. And so it became that type of business transaction because they saw what I was doing. It was like, okay, well, if you don't care, we just gonna invest time in this. And so it was horrible. It was horrible. And it dwindled any chance of like going to the league. Like I had to, I tried out for a number of teams, practice squad, stuff like that, but it was hard because I didn't actually get a chance to start. I literally came in to replace someone my freshman year, and I didn't get on the field until I was a junior because of all the stuff I had gone through. And so, but I actually quit football my senior year and didn't tell anybody. I just found a way to pay for school, which I was good at hiding stuff like that. Like I just wanted to figure it out. And so my mom found out because a bill did have to go to on that time, you know, but I masked it with, hey, I already paid it, you know, don't worry about it, whatever. And so I went back my senior year and I told my coach, I said, listen, I want to give this one more shot and I'll walk on, whatever. And I ended up starting. And I started my whole senior year. We won the conference championship. It was, you know, pretty much a total turnaround, you know, total 180. And so from that, the aftermath of all of it is, you know, when I coach and I teach and talk to kids now, it's all behind what happened to me. And that's the fuel for every passion I've had since then, from the college tours to coaching, to teaching, to mentoring, to, you know, I was tutoring for free. You know, a lot of the college tours, the first 3 years we did it, I paid for it out of my own pocket with no help. You know, I was just partnering with a church and just trying to see who wanted to go on the college tour. And it was all centered around kids having the chance or choices other than what they saw in their community. Thank y'all.
Don't go nowhere.
Okay.
No, you stand right here. So this is our Q&A portion. Paul, thank you once again for sharing your story. But any of you have any questions? Don't make me call you out. Don't do that. Don't do that. There we go. Thank you, baby.
So you mentioned a couple times like your faith and like churches and different things. So I'm curious how your faith played a role in this whole story for you.
Well, growing up, you know, I was always at church. You know, like I said, that was one of the three things that I was, you know, other than a social life, you know, was church, sports, and my friends, right? And so, you know, I was president of the junior usher board. I was that kid, right? I was always there. I sang in the choir, did all that. And so coming through. At the time I was doing the college tours, I was actually a youth minister at my church. And so that played a big role in turning that around. And so, but I didn't go to church a lot when I was in college. so it took a lot of that turnaround in my faith to help restore all of that and let me know that what I did was for someone else. And that's the way I looked at it, is that whatever mistake I made, whatever I had gone through was meant for somebody else.
Question? What?
So what led to the trajectory of you going into doing like college mentorship and things rather than, or, what changed from you going into like professional football into like NFL and things like that? Or did I miss that?
No, you got it. They only gave me 10 minutes, so they told me to leave that out. That's a little background. But what changed was, I had a nagging injury. And I'll let y'all y'all can write down what y'all guess what it is. But I had a nagging injury. So a lot of that, and plus for the position I wanted, I was undersized. So you had to be, even that much greater, which I was. I was good. Toot my own horn, but I was good. But I was actually doing a lot of that at the same time. So even when Hampton would have like media day, or the kids would come like from Little League and stuff like that, like I was out front with the kids. I always loved doing that type of work. So I did work with the Special Olympics when I was at school. So it was just a natural part of who I was.
Do you focus your mentorship for other football students who play football?
I focus because football, yes, became a passion, but I had a daughter who just graduated maybe 2-3 years ago, and I coached her in softball from time she was 7. And so, young ladies, anybody that's come in contact with me, that's my focus. If I'm not pouring into them, I'm not worth their time. You know what I mean? And that's the way. If they don't learn something when they come in contact with me, I don't feel I've done my job.
Seeing now that these college players are making millions just as much as NFL players, and then also seeing the flip side of it, knowing the mental health side, what is your suggestion for these kids that are coming in with absolutely no financial education? They're in front of 60, 70, 80, 100,000 people making millions, and now they're put in this limelight to be professionals as children. What is your suggestion or words to them now, knowing what you know from your story?
No matter how difficult it may be to trust, you got to trust somebody who's close to you that might have a little bit of that information or have your best interest in mind, and have them in the room. I don't care if you just argued with your dad 2 weeks ago. If he knows something about it, put him in the room, because it helps. It's just like if you were going to buy a car. You're in love with the car, right? You're going to go see everything good about the car. You ain't going to pay attention to what's under the hood. You ain't going to look for that burn mark that's way up under the, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to look for that. But the second person you bring with you that's not buying a car, and they don't have time, they don't want to be there, that person's going to find everything wrong. And you need that person. You need that person. And so that's the same type of advice I take with that. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's a childhood friend. I don't care if it's an aunt. You got to have somebody that loves you in the room with you, having those conversations. And if you don't, and to stop basing it off of what they have. Aunt so-and-so might not have $1 million, but she's been taking care of this 30,000 all her life. You see what I mean? You got to find value in some of those things too, not just the glitz and glamour. Because the first thing I see them do is start to talk. They listen to people that think that's got a lot, no matter where it came from. You know what I mean? And so that's what they see. That's what Instagram says is cool. And if I put out a video that says, "Hey, I made $1 million in 2 minutes. Want to learn how?" 8,000 people gonna click on how to learn to get $1 million in 2 minutes. Like that's really what happened. And so that's the thing I tell them. Don't believe in that. Believe in what's real. The people that took you to practice, the people that folded your laundry, the people that didn't want to sit out there in 10 degrees watching you sit on the bench. You see what I mean? Those people.
One more question?
Yeah, that's a great answer, by the way. That's on time. I kind of wanted to ask what your favorite party story was in college, but maybe let's flip a little bit. I'm gonna flip over to this guy here who's coached a lot of players. I don't know if you guys are friends or what your relationship is. Let's go back in time. What would Coach tell younger Paul, knowing what you heard tonight?
Very much the same thing. So understand that education is first, because the one thing we know about football or any sport, it ends for everyone. Nobody plays forever. So what do you have to fall back on? So, go to the school, not because you love the coach, go because you love the environment, go because they have your major and all those other things, because football is football no matter what. And the last thing you want to do is go to school and go for the wrong reasons, girls and all that other stuff, and then you end up not getting your diploma, because once you step on that college campus, the clock starts.
Mm-hmm.
And the real world is on your ass.
That's right. Yeah. And it took me an extra year, even with all that summer school. You know what I mean? Because I put myself behind the gun. Quick party story though. I got hurt. I got hurt in the game. I'm talking hurt. And I was blocking somebody. I was overextended, and this 300-pound kid got thrown into my leg. And so, I went down like a sack of bricks. And I was just rolling around the field, saying all types of stuff, right? And I'm talking hurt, like out of the game, see you when the game's over. And so I'm in the training room, and I'm like, man, give me all this stuff and everything. And so they're projecting me to play next week, but I knew I wanted to sit out of practice. And so I milked it, right? I milked it with all the trainers. I was like, yeah, oh man, but there was a party that night because we won. And so I'm in the party on crutches up against the wall, dancing my ass off. There you go.
Y'all give it up for Paul, please. Thank you, Paul. So switching gears real quick, before we go into the second portion of the program, we're going to take a minute to hear from the Beautiful Project. Because like I said, what we love about Fuck Up Nights is the fact that we give back to the community, and we are very intentional about the nonprofits that we choose. So this nonprofit in particular, we wanted them to share their mission, and also let everyone know in this room, and for those of you who are watching, that they are in need of help. And any little bit, any small amount can help. But let's get behind our local nonprofit. It's right here in Durham, and there's no need for all of their work to go in vain. So with that being said, please welcome Miss Kayla from the Beautiful Project.
Hey everyone, thank you so much, Kim. Thank you everyone for being here and in support. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you, Angela, for just, bringing us into this space. So yes, my name is Kayla Deans. I am currently the co-executive director of the Beautiful Project. We are based here in Durham, North Carolina. We are a community-based arts education organization that serve Black girls, gender-expansive youth. And we are all about how we can use our stories to advance the representational justice and healing justice of Black girls. And we do that by teaching our girls how to tell their stories boldly and unapologetically. And we do that through visual arts, through photography, through film, through storytelling and writing, poetry, all of it. They often create exhibitions and publications and are able to reach the wider community with their work. And not only is it about art, but it's also about the healing aspect. So how we use art as a way to further our own healing, and how that is rooted in care, rooted in sisterhood, rooted in self-care, but also in community care as well. So that's really critical. And right now, our organization, we've been doing this work for a very long time. I myself have been part of this organization since I was in college in 2011. As a photographer, this was the place where a camera was placed in my hands, without me even knowing that I had the sight to be a photographer and the vision for it. And now, next year, we will be 20 years in the game. So yeah, this is real significant work. And but we are also in that space right now where nonprofit organizations that serving Black girls like myself, where we don't have as much resources. And so we are in that moment right now where we are fundraising to continue to protect the legacy of our work, continue to create space for Black girls to just be safe, to express themselves freely. So if you want to learn more about the work that we do, we have a table out there. And for those who are here virtually, you can go to thebeautifulproject.org. If you want to donate specifically, you can go to thebeautifulproject.org/SaveTBP, and that will take you to our donation page. Currently, we are working with our high school apprentices, and they are ultimately curating an exhibition that will go live next year in partnership with the Durham Arts Council. And it will bring forward images and poetry and all type of visual art that really is grounded in radical healing. And we will have a call for submissions for students who are in the age range of 14 to 22 that would be interested in participating in the exhibition. So be on the lookout for that, and you can find that online. So that's a little bit about the Beautiful Project. And I also do feel encouraged to share a bit of my story. So I was thinking about what would be my story to share. And I was thinking about all the big moments that I had and I realized, sometimes it's those subtle moments where you're like, oh man, I messed up here. But, I also received a really, really good lesson. So this moment happened a couple years ago, and it was actually with my houseplants. I don't know if anyone are plant lovers out here, but I am. And the plants were speaking to me. And in 2020, I received a plant from a friend of mine, a dear friend, and it actually belonged to his grandmother who passed on. And so he gifted me the plant because he knew that I love plants and I would take care of it. And I named her Maybelle. And she was in this beautiful porcelain pot that you would imagine is like in any grandmother's house, like beautiful blue and white porcelain pot. And, I watched her grow, and I really took advantage of like, okay, I'm going to take care of this plant because my friend's grandmother, who's no longer here, her spirit is around, and I need to protect this plant and watch it grow. So she grew. Fast forward, it's 2021, and that was a significant year for me. I turned 30. I moved into a new home in May 2021, my birthday month, turned 30, moved into a new apartment. I just completed the film production of a powerful film that I created in co-creation with other artists that's part of the Beautiful Project Collective that eventually became Memories Ritual, which was our exhibition that was at the North Carolina Museum of Art a couple months ago. Thank you, ma'am. And that was a powerful and divine moment of me being an artist and be able to co-create with fellow artists and tell our stories. And And then also in that moment, it was a month after the founder, Jamaica Gilmer, God bless her, who created the Beautiful Project 20 years ago, coming from just this dear desire to impact Black girls through photography in a beautiful way. But she also made the decision to step away from the organization because it was time for her to move on to the next steps. So 2021 was significant. There was this growth and expansion for myself as an artist and me as a creative director of the organization. But now we're in this stage of unknown. Whenever, I don't know if y'all know, but whenever founder move on from organization, it's like, oh, okay. And really it was about, okay, how can we continue to move forward and for this work and the legacy of this work and the future of this work to continue. And so that was a significant month. So back to these plants. So Maybelle was holding me down, but naturally my world was all over the place. So I really wasn't paying so much attention to my plants. And they speak, well, I believe they speak to us, right? And so one day I was looking at Maybelle, and it was in August, and I was admiring. I was like, man, even though I haven't really been watering you, what have you, you just look good, like beautiful green leaves. So I touched her just for a second, just to, say thank you. And then she snapped off, like she completely broke off from the root. All of her leaves were intact, but she just completely disconnected. And at that moment, I was like, oh shit, like I literally killed this plant. And now I'm upset and I'm thinking about my friend's grandmother. Like I didn't do the thing that I needed to do, which was to continue her legacy with these plants that I was gifted. And so in the midst of that, I called my parents, like, what do I do? My dad said, calm down. It was a clean cut. You can put it in water and new roots will grow. And then in the meantime, the soil, the pot, clean that up, throw it away, and then get ready for a new pot. I was like, okay. So I put Maybelle in a glass of water for roots to grow. And then I didn't listen to my dad and I let the pot of soil just be. So a couple weeks later passed, and slowly but surely I started to see roots coming out of the plant in the container of water. And then I was like, okay, great, let me get a new pot and put you in a new place. Then out of the corner of my eye, with the pot that I didn't touch for weeks, I saw a little bit of green. And I was like, what is this? What's happening here? And then when I looked a little closer, I saw that a new leaf was forming out of that pot of soil that that I didn't touch, I didn't water in weeks. And the root was still there. The old root that I thought was dead, it literally looked dead, and a new leaf was slowly forming. And so in that moment, I freaked out again. I was like, oh my goodness, what's happening? And I called my parents again, but this time my mom, who can also see, like, because now I'm looking at this from a spiritual standpoint, and she was like, that's interesting. We were talking about it, and I was like, man, I saw like this, I thought it was this pot of dead soil root, and what I thought was dead, something new is growing. And slowly but surely, that little speck turned into a little leaf. And she told me to call that plant Hope. So I named her Hope. In the midst of this, still 2021, now it's a couple months later, moving forward, stepping into the position as one of the co-executive directors of the Beautiful Project, not knowing what that meant really, because I was a creative director, and it wasn't my ambition, right, to step into that. The exhibition now came out, and this was the first exhibition that I was able to lead as curator, and now that was at the museum. I'm 30 now, new decade, just thinking a lot about me and who am I. And hope started to grow. Meanwhile, Maybelle, her roots were completely formed, and I put her in a new pot of soil. So she's now in a new pot, and she's getting acclimated. And then hope started to grow more and more. And as she grew, I had that reminder, like, okay, even when you think something is over, that new life can still form. Like, just really like that piece around change and the power of change, and new life can form even when you think something is dead. Fast forward to 2022, and now hope is completely, she's as big as Maybelle was. And then I can tell, I'm like, she's getting as big. Maybelle is fine. And now I'm like, it's time. I need to take you out of the pot, or the same thing's going to happen. But I didn't learn my lesson. And that was partially because I was too comfortable. And I was really, really attached to this pot now, to this beautiful porcelain pot that was, gifted from one of my closest friends' grandmother. And I was also attached to that soil now as well. Like, I don't know, it just felt magical. I was like, this life that came out of this root that wasn't there is magical. And I don't want to remove her from this space. But she kept literally leaning over, doing all type of stuff, say, hey, this pot is too big, it's too small for me now. My roots are too big. I need to go. I need to expand and be in a bigger space. And so I finally listened, and I transported her to a new pot, a bigger pot with more width and depth. And she did okay. She had to reacclimate. I had to move her in different parts of my apartment, and all was well. But then slowly but surely, a leaf started to fall here and there. A leaf started to fall. And I'm like, it's okay, new life, new scenario. Sometimes you get, and meanwhile, once again, I'm looking at hope as a mirror of my life, right? Like, now I'm in this new position, and I'm getting like, some bruises here and there, and trying to figure out all that I didn't know of, like running an organization and in the next stage of my life. And then she snapped off in the same way that Maybelle did. And I was like, I was avoiding this. So she snapped off, but I didn't freak out as much because, like, okay, I've been here before. So I put her in water so that new roots would grow. But new roots never grew. And eventually the leaves continued to fall. And I was like, okay, hope is now, I don't want to say hope is over because, but hope, the plant now is no longer. And that was somewhere first quarter of 2022. But Maybelle is still thriving. And she's bigger than ever, and she's still sprouting new leaves. So in that lesson, what I've learned is a couple things. I've learned about the power, like what you need to do to just, the power of not always touching or trying to control a situation. Because once again, hope came from a pot of soil that I didn't pay attention to, I didn't touch, right? And she just grew. So I learned that. I learned that sometimes I don't always have to have my hands on a situation. It's handled. I learned the power of anchoring in hope in the midst of all the change. And I learned the power of release. Like, there are, endings and beginnings are beautiful. And so that's my story. And thank you for listening. And once again, if you want to learn more about The Beautiful Project, you can go to thebeautifulproject.org. And thank you.
And also, just a quick announcement before we go to break. Everyone in here who purchased a ticket, 100% of the proceeds will be going to The Beautiful Project. So thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are amazing. So we are going to take a quick break before we start the second half and welcome our other two speakers. Go get a drink, Speakers, if you already had your one, Paul, you're good. So you're no longer on punishment. But the other two, water. Got it? Okay. Go grab a drink. I see you, Sana. Grab a drink, meet someone that you've never met before, get a new friend, and enjoy the music. It's TDS Radio. Hey now, hey. Oh, and virtual, hang in there, y'all.
Don't let the lights shine you down. Who knows how much the last time you felt the love? Let's Maybe like 6 minutes more. Oh, yeah, 45 minutes. You live in Frederick. You live in Durham? I don't You're right. 2 years. 2 years. I'm not married, but I love
All right, everyone, we're getting ready to start shortly. We are getting ready to start our second portion of the program. So if you have not gotten your drink, get your drink. Whoever you didn't say hello to, say it now, because we are getting ready to start. And we want to make sure everyone is giving their full and undivided attention to our upcoming speakers. We are getting ready to start. You said who?
No, I'm just saying we're good.
Oh, we're still live? Well, hello, those of you who are watching virtually. I'll repeat it again. We're getting ready to start our second portion of the program. Get your libations, say hello to who you need to say hello to, and come on in and take a seat. Making sure we keep it gentle, smooth tones here. Yes. We are getting ready to start. We are getting ready to start. We are getting ready. I feel like I need to get ready to sing. We are getting ready to start. Everyone, we're getting ready to start. Can you hear me? Say amen if you can hear me. Too fast, slow it down. No. Are y'all ready for the second portion? Come on, somebody talk to me. Are you ready for the second portion? Coach, what happened to our chant? What was our chant?
Feel good.
There we go. Well, how's it go?
When I say feel good, y'all say feel great. Feel good.
Feel great.
Feel good.
Feel great.
We're all we got. You say we all we need. We all we got.
We all need.
We all we got.
We all need.
Feel good.
Feel great.
All right, sounds so beautiful. Don't you agree? And Brittany, yes, you better slide into that seat, baby. I saw you. She said, what? Feeling good? I'm here. All right. You guys ready? Second portion. Woo! All right, let's do it. Hey now, Sanai, you ready? Okay. I see you, baby. You was ready to start, honey. Run up here. Sanai Gautam Boom. Okay, I got it. He is a father, a husband, son, brother, cousin, a software engineer, and was an aspiring economist. His partner in the back with the bomb ass pants, baby. I need to know where you got them pants from. I'm gonna talk to you in a little bit, okay? Fills him with love and awe. Everybody say, aw. Yes, they have two incredible daughters who inspire and challenge him every day. His parents are Eritreans who found themselves settling down in Madison, Wisconsin. Really? Ooh, we skipped a lot of states to get there, didn't we? All right, in the late 1970s, and worked incredibly hard to provide him with a world of possibilities. His brother and sister bring him joy. His friends have lifted him up when he was laid low, and he is grateful. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Sinai.
I'm just gonna let Nina go for a little one. Thank you. I'm gonna keep this out just so I can hit the high points. I'm sorry by saying I come from a big family, so I'm the oldest of three. Both of my parents are the oldest of their families. I'm the oldest of something like 37 cousins, and I was the first one born here in the United States. So my parents came to the US, like said in the intro, in the 70s. They never intended to stay. But they did. They had me, my sister and brother. And, you know, while we were growing up, a couple of things were clear. You know, education was the key. They also came from Eritrea, which is a small country. It was then part of Ethiopia. Had a long history of just getting shit on by the world. And so there's this deeply ingrained kind of like, you know, you got to rely on yourself and don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. And also you are setting the example for your 37 cousins. So I was a bright kid. I had a brand. I was the black math nerd who was funny, you know, did impressions. But, you know, I worked hard, did what my parents said. I went to a good public school in Madison, Wisconsin, which means a certain thing. I went to an elite university, which means a certain thing. And I was generally on a mission, you know. So I graduate from college, 2002. I have an interest in politics and policy. I spent a couple of years teaching, and then, you know, I'm thinking, okay, so I'm interested in policy. I'm interested in politics. What can I do? Oh, I know. Like, I'm going to do what is probably the most stressful thing you can do if you're interested in that, and that is go for a PhD in economics. So graduate economics is a little different than undergraduate economics. Graduate economics is basically like applied math. But I was the math nerd. I was like, oh, math, I got this. So I was living in Arizona. I moved back to Wisconsin because they have a better math program. And I took a bunch of math classes. Just, you know, I lived with my parents. I was in my mid-20s. That was not great. But it was a sacrifice I was willing to make. And I was very strategic, you know. I was like, who do I need to get a letter of recommendation from? Like, who knows who? Because that's what this is about, right? This is about, it's not just, you know, what you know, it's who you know, social capital. So I do all this, you know, very, very strategic. I participated in a summer program for underrepresented minorities who are aspiring to go to graduate school. And that was in the summer 2006. And it happened to be at Duke, actually, that year. So I came down here for a summer. It was the first time I was down here. I was kind of a dick. I was just focused. I was just very focused, very serious. I got the right letters of recommendation. And spring of 2007, I get, I get accepted to a bunch of places. One of which is the University of Chicago, which is one of the preeminent programs in the country. So, long history of Nobel laureates who taught there. I ended up being taught by a couple. Some are terrible teachers. But I got accepted to other places too. And I remember I was on a visit, and when I told the professor I was talking to, the places I've been accepted to, he just looked at me, he's like, there's no way you're not going to the University of Chicago. Like no one gets accepted to the University of Chicago for economics and doesn't go. And he's right, but what was driving me wasn't just that. I was seduced by that, but I also was driven because, I had to prove something. I had to be that person, the person who looked like me, who was in that room. I was going to be the representative. And I got there, and that was my fuck up. So my fuck up was being seduced and saying yes to a place that ultimately was not the place for me. So I get there, and at first it's okay. And, but this is a place where literally the best person in economics from a country around the world, like Argentina, like the best, Argentinian economist, aspiring economist, is picked out of that country and goes there. The best one from Denmark, from Germany. They had masters. They had years of training that I didn't have. And imposter syndrome sets in. And it's real. I mean, like, and the thing is, like, so it precipitated what was a pretty intense mental health sort of crisis for me. It hit a lot of the anxieties that I had growing up, my identity. Like, I was the black math nerd. Well, I'm not so good at math compared to some of these people, and it struck at that core identity. And also the motivation, like, I need to prove the world wrong. Like, someone who looks like me can't do this. I'm gonna do it. Fuck them. I'm gonna do it. And it wasn't enough. And it wasn't enough because it wasn't right for me, and I was doing it for the wrong reasons. And so I ended up dropping out. I lasted the better part of a year, and I tried to come back, left again. So it took, there were a couple of false starts of me just banging my head against that wall, being like, I am going to do this. I am going to do this, until it was clear, like, no, you are not going to do this. You are not going to do this. And it took me a while to recover from that. But this is a fuck up with a happy ending. It took, a lot of false starts, a lot of ups and downs. My friends, people who had known most of my life, were with me during some pretty low periods. And I'm very confident I would not be here today without them. And the happy ending is that summer program that I was in 2006, when I was a dick. I'm still kind of a dick. I'm still kind of a dick. No, but less of, was where I met the woman who would eventually agree to marry me. I'm gonna call her my wife. There's no that possessiveness. That she agreed to marry me. She agreed to be my partner. And with her, we have two beautiful daughters. And we reconnected. Oh, there they are. Hey, girls. This one, she can't even, she talks, but she's already very opinionated. Yeah. So, what I wanted to relate to them was that work hard, dream big, but do it for the right reasons and do it because it brings you joy. And if you're not doing it that way, then you might end up in some interesting places that maybe you would rather not be. That's all. Oh yeah.
Gotta answer some questions. So, does anyone have questions for Sanai?
Where would you have gone other than?
I might have stayed at Wisconsin. So I was accepted to Wisconsin. I was accepted to Cornell, Duke. There are some other places. Wisconsin, I knew people. It was comfortable. I had a support system. They call University of Chicago the place where fun goes to die. And it is. It's a in winter. It's dark. The buildings are like these Gothic buildings. Like it can get bleak. But there was no support. Like I had a couple of friends, but that might have helped me through. But honestly, like looking back, I don't think I was built for graduate school. I think I was doing it because like all my life it was like, oh, you're smart. You can be a professor. You should be a professor. And just hearing that, and then internalizing it and then being like, this is what I need to do. And then like you getting into this environment and you're like, this is not for me at all. Like, but you still, keep pushing. And that's why I want that. I don't want to put that on, my daughters. I don't think like, I think people need to have the space to be able to discover what their strengths are and find the things that allow them to take advantage of those. Oh.
So, what did your parents or your cousins, those who looked at you as being that guy, like that guy? What did they say when you dropped out, and how did you navigate those conversations?
So my parents were incredibly supportive. Part of it is, without, I don't want to get it too much detail, but like they also had experience with family members who had mental illness. And so knew what to do, what not, what to say, what not to say, which is unusual for like immigrant communities. And so like, I was incredibly fortunate because without that experience, I don't know that they would have had the empathy to sort of say like, oh, okay, this is what's going on now. Like, this isn't you quitting. This isn't you, this is, you need to take care of yourself. And when you're ready to do whatever it is that you want to do, we will be there to support you. And honestly, I think my cousins probably didn't give a shit. Like they, I think a lot of this was in my head, like a lot of this, I don't think this, was really what, was how it was. They weren't, a lot of the parents, were telling them, oh, look at Senai, like, see what he's doing, and I knew that. And I knew, and so knowing that, I was like, oh, well, they're telling them, but like, they're living their own lives. Like they, and so it definitely made me less self-involved. I'm still self-involved, but like, less than I was before, where it's like, no, people aren't really thinking of you in that way. But there were hard conversations for sure.
When you're in those seats in University of Chicago, how were you handling or managing just that peer-to-peer competition that happens when you're sitting in the classroom, when you can like feel that pressure?
Yeah.
Like, how were you managing that? Because
Not well.
I folded.
Yeah, not well.
folded.
Not well. And that's the thing. Like it is thinking of like, oh, like if I screw up, there's, that the added like, I mean, it's a well-worn story. Like, oh, well, he's here because, like, but the students were actually incredibly supportive, and empathetic, and it was one of those things where it was like, oh, this is just like the system, the way the system is set up, like there weren't really people who were rooting against me in my cohort. Chicago had a reputation of being a place like that. That sort of carried over. People were coming in like, but it wasn't like that. When I was there, it was really like, I don't think that place broke me. I broke myself. Like this was, me bringing a bunch of stuff to the table that didn't help. Yeah.
I guess my question would be somewhat similar, right? Like the overcoming. But if like you were to give advice to someone who, like student-wise or anybody who's in a position that they want to be in and actually do feel called to be in, but they're still suffering that imposter syndrome, what would you give? Like, what would you give them?
Oh, so like they're a lot, like they're actually doing something that they love,
like
for the right reasons.
Buildings, they think that they're really dark.
Yeah.
Their bag, but they are still feeling like because of those other voices and the voices that are in their heads, that they're not meant to be. What advice would you give to help them overcome that?
Talk to someone. I mean, like whether that's professionally or find mentors. My wife is an excellent mentor. I'm gonna put that. She actually did what I didn't do, which is finish grad school and become a professor, and and she has the skills, to do that. But find those people, that can tell you, yes, I actually, because there are people like me who felt like that, and like you said, like it's too much and they can't do it. But there are a lot of people for whom they feel it, and for whatever reason, it's this like mysterious thing, like they get through it somehow and come out the other side. And so then those people can tell you like, yes, I felt like you felt. I was in that seat, in February in Chicago. And but I got through it, and you find people that can support you. So yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it's a non-judgment zone in here, so I'm going to ask this question. I should probably know. We're talking about your T-shirt.
Yes.
I think I know who it is, but I got two questions. Who is it,
Mhm.
and why did you choose to wear that shirt tonight?
So this is Thelonious Monk. I like his music. I didn't plan on wearing this shirt to here, and then I had my hoodie, which I was afraid I would sweat too much, so I took the hoodie off. But I did, this was a gift from my in-laws, and they give me these wonderful shirts with like various jazz icons on them, and so most of my T-shirts now that I wear are those. So, but Monk was born in North Carolina, and in Rocky Mount, I believe. So I guess it's appropriate. We're good.
All right, y'all can keep the. Yes, there we go. There we go. At least let them get halfway to the seat. Y'all said, and next. right. All right. Oh, look at my little dumpling coming up to the stage. Oh, my little Polly Pocket. Hey, girl. You're just so cute. Okay. So she is. She's so tiny. Like, come here, boo. Come on. So, our final speaker for the evening, Angela Hollowell, is the founder of Rootful Media. I feel like that got really loud. Maybe okay. A creative documentary film production company based in Durham, North Carolina. Woo woo. She is also the host of the video podcast Honey and Hustle. Yes, girl, I like that name. That's cute. She creates documentary films about the outdoors, health equity, social impact, and environmental justice centering Southern voices. Her video interviews feature themes about creative entrepreneurship in North Carolina and beyond. In addition to her professional creative projects, she works to help visual storytellers and creative entrepreneurs build their audience and impact. When she's not working, she can be found in nature or enjoying a fruity beer or margaritas with her friends. So everyone, please welcome Miss Angela Hollowell. Come on, girl.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you for entertaining me. Good to see you guys tonight. You guys looking good. You guys looking a lot taller than me. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for coming in from Raleigh. Like she said, my name is Angela Hollowell. I'm the founder of Rootful Media. And for the last story of the night, I'm going to take you guys down to the Deep South, Alabama, which is where my story starts. In 2016 is when I started my company, and that was right after I finished my bachelor's degree. And I knew I wanted to get my master's, but I wasn't sure how it was all going to come together. And Birmingham is a city where I just really fell in love with the outdoors. I fell in love with hiking. I fell in love with nature. And I was also kind of at the same time learning about a lot of the environmental injustices that are happening in the city. In my graduate degree at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, I studied peace and human rights studies, and that encompassed a lot. That encompassed environmental justice, that encompassed gentrification, that encompassed a lot of the health outcomes that are associated with people when their rights are being infringed upon and things like that. And when I finished, I really started to think a little more critically about what I wanted life to look like. You know, how could I mend together my interest in photography and filmmaking with human rights and peace building. And at one point I just said, what if I could become a documentary filmmaker? And in 2018, at the age of 24, with a master's degree, I kind of felt like I had reached my peak. I felt like I had met everyone I was going to meet. I felt like I had kind of plateaued there, and that's not a good feeling at 24 when your whole life is ahead of you. And I knew I wasn't going to get a PhD. So I started thinking, like, I want to move outside of Alabama. I want to be in a place that challenges me. I want to be in a place that's new to me and that really allows me to grow, not just as a creator, but as a business owner. Because I really realized in order to be a filmmaker, you have to be your own boss. And there was so much I didn't know about running a business. So in 2019, I moved to Durham, North Carolina. Go Bulls. Durham. And that was just like the start of an incredible career journey for me. I moved up here when I got a job to UNC, but the whole time I was like, okay, I will give them 9 to 5. And after that, I will spend that time growing my business. I went to so many networking events. I grew so much as a creator and as a business owner. I learned a lot. People here are just willing to share. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Share their experiences, share their relationships, share their connections. And I grew a lot. And in May 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, which is clearly the best time to start a business, is when I went full time. And 2021 was my first full calendar year being a full-time creator. It was scary, but I learned a lot. And I came away from that year very confident and with a renewed vision of what I wanted my career to grow into. And I settled once again back on the environment and the outdoors and nature. And in April of 2022, almost 2 years since I'd been full-time, I got reached out to by CBS Sports. Has anybody watched CBS Sports? No? Shade, okay. And I was just so excited to be reached out to by CBS Sports. I'm like, oh man, this is great. They want me to make a commercial about this bull rider here in North Carolina. This is like the dream. This could really submit me in my niche or industry as an outdoor filmmaker. And I don't know about you guys, but really at that time, I was just so enamored with the outcome of what that collaboration could look like that I wasn't really giving a whole lot of attention to the red flags that were coming up. It was almost like wanting to be in a relationship so bad that you forget what it means to be in a healthy relationship, and you don't really think about what you need to be in a happy relationship. Any hopeless romantics? I see some head nodding. It's not just me. She's like, what? So sorry. Didn't mean to call you out. And so that was me. I was just eyes wide open. I was super excited. And the first red flag really should have given it away that this was not the opportunity for me, which is when they said, you need to get a crew together in the next 24 hours or we're going to have to move on. I didn't have a crew, but I found people, which is not good. These are people that I worked with for the first time on this assignment, so I learned a lot from that. The second thing happened when I got the crew. She said, these are the cameras that I want to use. And they weren't cameras that I had, so I had to rent them. And they weren't cameras that I had used a lot. So I was like, we're going to make it work. Okay, no problem. I tried to get some information about the location of where we'd be filming. Couldn't get that. Couldn't plan. That's very useful when you think about planning for a film or planning for a commercial. Can I see what it looks like? Can I think in advance about compositions? It just helps you move faster on the day of the set. And last but not least, which is probably the most important thing, ask for a deposit. I typically ask for a deposit in advance of filming anything. They're like, no, at CBS Sports, we pay all freelancers after their services have been rendered. I said, that sucks, but okay, I'm gonna go for it. Not things you should do. So we get there on the day of the shoot, and a couple days later, things go well. The bull rider's awesome. He brings his twin kids out that he just had. Super, super great time. I'm going home. I'm feeling good. I'm like, yes, nailed it. Feeling super confident. About a week later, she calls me. She's like, hey, half of the interview didn't record on one of the cameras. So, but she's like, no, but we can work with it. I'm like, okay, great. Get another call. She's like, hey, the editors don't know how to work with this footage. So can you help them? I'm like, you requested the cameras. What does this have to do with me? Yes, sure, I can help. Yes, absolutely. Did I ask to get paid for this extra labor? No, I did not. And speaking of pay, the thing that you need when you do work, right? I said, hey, who should I send my invoice to? She says, oh, send it here. By the way, we pay net 90. And for people who are unfamiliar, we know, okay. Net 90 means 90 days, 90 business days after services are rendered. Terrible terms. No shade, CBS, but y'all can do better. Y'all can do better. So you would think that after all this has happened and I get paid and I'm just like, she gives me a call and she's like, thank you so much for being flexible and great to work with and, working tirelessly to make this happen. I never got that call. And I learned a lot about that because I think sometimes, when you're a little bit younger or maybe not as experienced as you think you could be, you don't think you deserve to be in some places. But I did deserve to be there. And I really fucked up by not advocating for myself throughout that process and really snaps, appreciate it. And really, really being honest with myself about what I needed to do a good job and to do my best work and honest with them about what I needed to work with them. So I think that's all from me, but thank you guys so much. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. You were ready. I'm so sorry.
Any questions? Come on, man.
I'm definitely gonna just look you up, right? Honestly, part of this
Appreciate it.
For sure. So look at some of your work. But you said that you are freelance as a documentary filmmaker, and so what all does that entail? Like, do you do the work in terms of just creating the film, just like filming it itself? Do you actually do full production teams? Like, what is the freelancing like
What's going?
Yeah. So we've definitely grown, and I say we because it's not just a team of me anymore, which is awesome. I do have a crew that I trust, and we are working on some client stuff and also some original projects. So we're working on a project with the Pauli Murray Center. If you've heard of them, and we are working on an original project. Democracy Green is our fiscal sponsor, and we're looking at the fight for clean water in Eastern North Carolina. So looking at a lot of the PFAS water contamination, lead water contamination. So still kind of in that outdoor social impact space, but we're hoping to add some narrative film work and just more incredible direct to consumer, so DTC brand type stuff as well. So that is what that means. Yeah.
Despite all of the chaos and misery that came along with that.
Yeah.
Now looking back,
Mhm.
do you feel like having CBS on your resume changed the scope of the kind of clients you're able to leverage?
If I'm being completely honest, no.
Wow.
I know. And I say that also because of maybe the type of clients that I work with. A lot of them have been in the nonprofit space. And then, I've done some political stuff as well. And so now looking back, it's really, I think people know me from other work that I've done that really speaks to the things that they care about. And the clients that I speak with, like Sherry Beasley from North Carolina, when I say that name, a lot of people know that name. The East Coast Greenway Lines, not just in North Carolina, but all along the East Coast, people know that name. So I think in terms of really being in the outdoor and environmental space, it didn't help, but in terms of just experience, obviously it helped.
You talked about like red flags that you noticed from different things.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, how have you started to now identify like green flags or red flags, and like which ones stick out to you when you meet new clients?
Yeah, a lot of that comes from developing a better sales process. And I say that as someone who really has struggled with sales, as you can see in the past, and asking the right questions. And one, people paying on time. If they cannot pay me a deposit, they're probably not somebody I'm going to work with. And really people who are partners within you and not just people who are dictating to you and not allowing you to be in control of creative, which is what they're hiring you to do. And I could probably go all day, but yes, I've gotten a lot better at, determining those things and also being prepared to walk away if things, are not good, if conditions are not great.
So did it actually take in 90 days, and were you happy with the outcome of the film? Were you happy with what it looked like and how it aired and all of that?
You're asking a great question. They did not pay in 90 days. I had to follow up with them on day 100 and say, hey, where's my money? And that's another, again, like you have to advocate for yourself like throughout the entire process, which is not something I was used to when I was like working a 9 to 5. Like you have a superior who you go to and you say this and they go to bat for you, hopefully, if they're a good manager. So yeah, I had to still go to bat for that. They did pay me, thankfully. And in terms of what it looked like, I honestly can't even tell you what it looked like. I still have the footage, but in terms of the commercial itself, it was actually part of a series, and I'm not sure the series ever went live of commercials. Yeah. CBS, boo. Yes, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Alright, so I get to publicly say thank you. Angela's done
Yes.
amazing work for a nonprofit I'm affiliated with called Band Together.
Mhm.
Raise $1 million every year for different nonprofits and do some live music.
Mm.
And Angela's come out and has shared her talents with us. And I will say honestly, in 25 years of photography and videography, and we get a lot of great pictures of the bands. Angela gets pictures of the moment of the people, the fans, and like the experience, which is really special. So I get to say thank you.
Mhm.
And then I want to ask you about, you touched on this a little bit, but pride in the name of work. So like something you're super proud of, just, a case study, the thing that you're just like, this is my anchor story, the thing that you share with people when you're trying to tell them about how badass you are, because you are.
First of all, going back to Band Together, I got this shirt at Band Together. Okay, this is Duran Jones and the Indications, if you're interested. And probably the case study that I would point to is actually my work at the East Coast Greenway Alliance, which is a nonprofit that's advocating for connected trails and separated trail networks from Maine to Florida. And I say that because I think in the nonprofit space, when you think about video storytelling, you think about one, maybe hero video that they've used to raise money. You think about maybe some photos from an event, right? You're not thinking about an end of year live video series that you can use to engage, supporters of the Greenway, that you can use to raise money and you can use to build awareness, which is something that I piloted at the East Coast Greenway Alliance, and was able to host that because they knew I was a podcaster, so we were able to incorporate that. I was able to bring a little bit more of the documentary filmmaking to that space. There you have people that run the Greenway from Maine to Florida, bike it, somebody that went on a unicycle. And I was kind of like, how can we put together a piece that highlights what the Greenway looks like, how great it is, but also where it needs work. And I think just in terms of bringing that element of storytelling and evergreen storytelling to the Greenway was really good. And also to highlight stories of people that look like me. It wasn't my mission, but it is something that was important to me to show that, people who ride bikes aren't just white and wear spandex. They're also people who commute to work and don't have a car. They don't have a choice. They need public transit. They need safe ways to get to work on foot and by bike. So that's probably one of my biggest accomplishments. Yeah.
Thank you, Angela. All right, one more time. Give it up for Angela, y'all. And how many of you have attended Fuck Up Nights for the first time? Raise your hand. Hi. Oh, basically all of you. Well, welcome. Fucking welcome. You are now officially a Fuck Up alumni. Give yourselves a hand. Woo. Did you guys enjoy yourselves? Would you come back? Say yes. All right. Because our fuck up is we will not do this again in fucking December. Okay. That was a fuck up on our part. Won't be happening again. But before we get up out of here, just a few more thank yous. Everybody say thank you, Miss Monica. Nobody's inebriated, are they? If you were, blame Miss Monica. Say thank you, Miss Monica. Say thank you to our speakers. Where's Tatiana, my other Polly Pocket? Say thank you, Tatiana. That's our showrunner back there. Appreciate her. She makes sure we stay on time. She kicks my ass if we go over. So with that being said, let's wrap this up. Also, make sure, wait, what are you telling me? Yes, I keep forgetting about y'all. Hey, y'all, let me get in close. Thank you. I appreciate y'all because I have been ignoring y'all this whole entire time. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, babies. Give it up for the people online, y'all. Give it up for the people online. Woo! All right. And AU, give it up for AU for allowing us to host this here. Appreciate them. And the Beautiful Project, make sure y'all give it up to the Beautiful Project. Woo! And last but not least, can you give it up for the hostess and the engineer for tonight? That's TDS Media, please. Thank you. Appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for your support. Once again, all the proceeds will be going to the Beautiful Project. So I can't thank you guys enough for coming out and doing this. You guys have been amazing. We will be back. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. But we're going to take a break. But I have everyone in here. I have your email address, so don't try to hide me. Don't try to hide. And make sure you're following Fuck Up Nights. It's at fuckupnights_Durham. That. Yes. It's that. What's up, baby? What is that? Oh. Y'all go see our little boo. All right. Hey now. The merch, baby. The merch. But with that being said, thank you guys so much. What? Huh? What? Oh, well, we got hugs. Oh. So now what you got? Nothing? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, you said what, girl?
I said round of applause for you.
Oh, round of applause for me, girl. Thank you, girl. All right, right, y'all. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. I hope you really enjoyed yourselves. We will be back at it. Who? Oh, the booth. Yes. If you guys have like 30, 60 seconds, if you want to record your own personal fuck up, it could be something really small or really big. We want to hear from you. Go right in the booth, record it.
Or shout out to Fuck Up Nice Durham. Any of that in the booth.
Get in the booth. Don't make me sing to y'all because you know I will. But yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Please get home safe. Everyone enjoy their weekend, enjoy your holiday, and have an amazing fucking new year. And if you have a story about fucking up, we are your people. So reach out to us. Thank you guys. Thank you.